Hi everyone, welcome to I Make Stuff, and this week we're going to be making another Stranger Things inspired t-shirt. So the original t-shirt that I made for the premiere of the second season, that video got an overwhelming response. It was one of my most viewed videos for my I Make Stuff series. So I wanted to make another shirt, also Stranger Things related, and I'm going to be making it with a very similar one to what I'm wearing. It is another baseball style tee, but white and blue this time, with a design that I have already pre-cut onto this black vinyl. The black vinyl is a Chemica Thermoflex, I believe it's called, so it's a flexible material. So when you pull your shirt, it can actually stretch with the shirt. This is great for very tight-fitting shirts, as well as anything that you'll be pulling often, like a hat or anything, so it stretches with your fabric. The fundamental difference between how I'm going to be making this shirt as well as all the other shirts that I have made before is I'm actually going to be using an iron. I got a request from several of my viewers to show how I would do it without a heat press. I understand a heat press is very expensive, and I did use an iron for quite a while. So I'm going to just explain how I used to do it and how you can do it at home without a heat press. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to weed the design. The design I actually cut a long time ago, and I found it under a stack of papers when I was cleaning my craft desk, and I thought it's finally time to finish this shirt. So here we go. We're going to weed, and then I'm going to show you how I iron the shirt. So we're now filming in a different part of the house. The reason why we're doing that is because this is a wood table. The original table that I do all of my crafts on for these videos, it's kind of like a rubbery top, and I'm afraid that when I use the iron, it is actually going to melt the top of the table. And what you would need for the table, or what I recommend you getting for the table, is silicone mats to protect the table. And then I have a bamboo cutting board or a wood board. You can use other things to kind of make sure that there is some space between what you're trying to iron and your table so you don't burn anything. Then I have a whole bunch of fabric that I'm going to also be using to try to absorb some of the heat, and it won't transfer onto my table and burn it or something. The same rules apply to a shirt when you use an iron as well as a heat press. What you want to do is fold it in half and then get the middle point. So I'm going to just iron it a little bit and get the middle point of the shirt. This is a great trick for anyone who wants to make sure that their design is currently right in the middle of their shirt, especially if you don't have a T-square ruler. I don't have one, so I always use this trick. I'm just going to press down a little bit. I also forgot to mention that the iron is set to what you would normally use to iron cotton shirts. For me, it is set to about medium high. You also want to make sure that the iron does not spray water out. You want it to be just only heat. So now I have the middle line of my shirt. And what I'm going to do is going to put it down here. I'm going to also stand up so it's easier for me to work. I want to make sure my design is 3 inches from the top of the collar. And from there, I also want to make sure I have the midpoint of my design as well. And by just eyeballing it, I kind of got kind of in the middle of my design. So double check again. All right. So the hard part about ironing heat transfer vinyl onto your shirt is you don't really have a control over the temperature as well as the amount of pressure that you're putting down. The vinyls that you buy, they will always recommend the temperature as well as the amount of pressure, and because you're kind of doing it manually, you kind of don't know. And a lot of people have the question about how would I know whether or not my vinyl is actually stuck to the shirt. You actually have to keep pressing your design onto the shirt until you see the fabric through the vinyls. I'll show you some examples of what I mean of past projects that I have done where you can actually see the threading of the fabric underneath the vinyl. Alright, I'm just going to make sure that I remove this little part before I go. Alright, so now what I do is I already centered my design. I made sure that my design is right over the bamboo cutting board. And from here, all I have to do is take my iron and press it down as hard as I can. When I do that, I want to also keep the iron on the design for about 15 seconds. And what you do is you're going to move the iron around on different parts of the image. So you can already tell that if you use the iron versus a heat press, it just takes a lot longer. So after pressing for some time, you can see that I'm actually really putting my body weight on it. I have seen people step on their iron while doing this, and I find that to be really unsafe. So I don't recommend doing that. I just put it at an angle where, a good height, and then I just press down. If you prefer, you could work on the floor. But I really don't recommend you stepping onto the iron, just in case, your foot slips and, it's just an accident waiting to happen. I also, what I do recommend is while you are doing this, periodically check your table to make sure that it is not getting overly hot. I used to have one of those self-healing mats underneath my work area in the craft room, and what happened was because of the heat, I had like 11 shirts to make that day. Because of the heat, it started to warp, so I don't recommend you using that too. So like I said, I use silicone mats, a bamboo cutting board, and then a whole bunch of fabric or old fabric, whatever, towel, as long as it is not textured and just flat, it should work. So this is done, or should be done, I hope. And what we're going to do is peel off the design and hope everything sticks. Just looking at it, I did a good job of making sure the vinyl is stuck. I can see the lines of the shirt or the fabric underneath. And what we're going to do is now go back to the other table. So here's the finished product. I found a design online, so you guys can go check that out if you're interested. I used the Silhouette Cameo software to trace the design and cut it out onto the vinyl. I wanted to make this video just to show that you don't need a heat press to use with your heat transfer vinyl. It, yes, takes a lot longer, and you also run the risk of potentially the vinyl peeling up. And I don't recommend you selling shirts that you made using an iron. So if you're just making shirts for yourself and you can fix the vinyl yourself if it starts to peel up, let's say, then you don't need a heat press. You don't need to invest in something, another tool, especially if you don't have space for it. And all I use is an iron that everybody already has in their house, and there you go. I hope this answered questions that some of you guys had regarding how to use heat transfer vinyl with an iron, as well as inspire you guys to go out there and just create something. I love to make my own shirts, and I wear them all the time, especially for my videos. And I know there are a lot of people out there who just want to be a little bit more hands-on, and this is a great way to get started. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button and comment below with other things that you guys would like to see me make. I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you later.